Hey, this was my game from the 6th of September. I played against somebody at my local club. He played white, I played black. I unfortunately lost. He opened with e4. I responded e5. He threw me off of my game and played d4, of course. I got afraid. I had spilled some coffee onto myself and wasn't playing the game like I usually would, and played f6. This was obviously, as you can see, the computer or Stockfish already thinks it's a bad move for me. So he takes, and everything went bad for me here as I took. And well, yeah, you can see what's gonna about to happen next. Queen takes, check. I moved this pawn in front of it. He took with the queen. I went queen in front. He took. I took a back and checked him. He moved his bishop in front of it. Yeah, the threat was that he was going to take one of these two. I decided to ignore it and go straight for his pawn here. He took the horse. Let's see, I've got a little booklet here with everything in it. I just need to remember, write down how it went. So queen takes on g8. I spoke to my opponent after the game, and he thought that this was like a trick or something, that like I was going to somehow trap his queen in here, and I played c6. And I'm not too sure what I was thinking here. Like, I was looking at the post-game analysis, and yeah, I thought there was a really good reason for playing it, and nothing came to mind of why I played this. But my opponent, he was completely flabbergasted, and he was like, "Oh no! Like, here comes the big play." Unfortunately, I didn't have anything good in mind, because his next move was to play bishop to h6. I believe that's this one here, and of course doubling up on the bishop. Obviously I can't take because the queen's in the way, and if he takes with the queen, well, then it's going to start looking very, very ugly for me. So I did queen to e4, check. Here, check. He responded with bishop to e2. Continuing back to this, so I did queen to b4, check. Constantly had to keep the king in check, otherwise, well, things were about to get very bad over here. I was going to lose the bishop, and well, the game was obviously going to end very quickly. But as you can see, I'm already down a lot of pieces, and down 2 pieces actually, and well, it isn't looking too good. So the next move was for my opponent was to move knight to d2. Of course, that leaves this as a vulnerability, but obviously it doesn't matter if he's taking, and things are obviously escalating. So I moved to queen to e7, going into the defense. Although I don't think this was too much of a good move, as I was already protecting it and he wasn't attacking me. I think a better move would have been something like this, or moving this out, making space for this. All of these would have been very good moves. Instead, I went and moved the queen a bit closer, and my opponent proceeded with knight to f3, developing all of his pieces. So now his pieces are fully developed, and well, I haven't even taken anything but my queen off the back line. So, but at this point, I already knew that the game was lost, and well, I was just going to play for a blunder at this point. To this knight f3, I responded d5 and moved my piece here to open up the bishop. My opponent castled on the queen side, or the king side, sorry. I responded with bishop to e6. Here we go, attacking the queen. My opponent definitely did not like this, because I was hoping to put him into the corner here, or at least and get him away and letting me develop my pieces. But instead of that, he unfortunately took on f6, forcing me to trade queens, which was in reality my last opportunity to actually see if he could get blunder something, because, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces against 3 is not looking very positive, especially when you're missing 2 pawns in the center. However, I was making a calculated risk here. I was making some calculations about making a massive attack with my pawns on the left side, wiping out his pawns here, maybe getting something on the back rank, and just protecting everything here and just moving forward slowly. But unfortunately, I had to move to the right with the king first to take the bishop. At this point, my opponent started moving forward. He moved to knight to g5, attacking both the pawn and the bishop. So I moved the bishop and protected the pawn. My opponent responded by moving bishop to g4, probably starting to prevent me from moving my knight out. So I moved my king to e7, already knowing that before he was able to move out his move out his castles to prevent me from even moving and locking me on this side of the board. So he responded with rook to e1. I definitely should have specified which rook I moved. Yeah, I only have a rook to e1 check, but I'm pretty sure he moved this one. To which I responded king to d8. Knowing that at least my bishop would protect from an incoming knight. And of course, this bishop here, of course, preventing me from going too many other directions. So the next move of my opponent was rook to d1. It had been here. Rook to d1, yeah. Then I proceeded to respond with knight to d7, as my knight was finally protected. And fortunately, he did not take immediately with this knight, which was giving me some opportunities to create some havoc all over the place with this knight forking everything left, right, and center. So my opponent responded with knight to c4. No, this is incorrect. I moved my knight to d7. No, weird. c4. Yeah, he was blundering this this knight. At the time, I was thinking he was definitely 100% going to check me here, and then I had no clue what was going to happen next. You know, like maybe the knight was going to come in. Obviously the bishop was covering it, and then I don't know if I had to move to the left or to the right. That is rook was going to come in, either take the bishop, check me, or take the my rook, and really just start finishing off this game. But fortunately I had the wisdom, and this is where I started playing some actual chess, to move knight to f6, both covering this piece here, covering this piece if allowing this piece to start moving out again, and also attacking here as the computer is showing. My opponent actually, he was nodding his head to this. Actually, I remember it clearly. He actually quite enjoyed this move. He even said in the post after game analysis that like yeah, he was thinking that this move was very delightful, and that he started to realize that like, oh, maybe this guy can actually play some chess and he's not just blundering rooks for the and knights for the fun of it, instead for just a simple pawn. So he played bishop to h3. I responded by starting my attack on king to c7, getting it off of the back line before anything nasty started coming in. He played knight to... Well, in reality I should have probably taken this, but couldn't really. But yeah, now that this is starting to get open, he moved knight to e3, which at least is blocking off the rook, for me at least. Then I responded with b5. My opponent came in with c2, probably trying to get this piece here, create some movement instead of getting blocked off by these with these two rooks. Actually start to create some action. So I responded with, I believe it was c5 to block him from going here with the knight. Obviously being allowed to do this because the pawn is both covered by these two pieces. And well, even if I were to leave now, see, like as earlier said, like I could leave with the bishop now because this pawn here is covered from this knight attacking it. So my opponent responded with bishop to e6, which I believe is this move. Obviously also allowing my bishop to run wild, whilst obviously the pawn is covered. So I responded, well, because I also knew that this piece was covered, and well, if I started letting him mess around with my my game, I would start messing around with my attack. I would never get anywhere. So I responded with d4 before I lost the bishop, which of course is protected then by the pawn, and cancels the rook from taking it and then wiping out the entire line and blocking anything else from moving there. So I responded. He responded with bishop takes on g8, and that is my bishop gone, of course. However, this allowed me to unleash my last remaining rook, taking it on g8. Then we had an interesting sequence where he moved his rook to e7, checking me. And this is where I think I started to make some more blunders, as I moved my king to b6, finally accepting that this pawn was just absolutely gone. He responded with rook to e6 check again. Now my oh yeah, this is where the blunder happened. I blundered the horse, the knight. I think what could have been a better move than this? Probably knight to d7. But I was trying to get into this corner here to escape the onslaught of all these. Good heavens! Onslaught of all these lines here, and at least get some protection from the pawn structure. But unfortunately, yeah, I moved here and lost my knight. And well, this really signified the end to the game here. I was almost tempted. Well, actually, it was far earlier that I was tempted to throw in the towel, but I thought give it one last chance with king to a5 to start my attack by helping support the pawns down the on the left side. So of course, rook takes on f6. So I moved my rook to d8 in preparation to support this piece here, but yeah, the machine thinks this is completely over for me, which of course it is, as there's only one line gonna continue from here. So my opponent does rook takes on f6. I replied with rook to d8. My opponent brings b4 check. I'm not too sure what the engine thinks is slightly better, but yeah, this forced me to I believe take. What did I take it with? Take on b4. I believe I took like this, and this is when things started to get real dire, as I was on the verge of checkmate. So my opponent moved knight takes on d4. King takes on a4. Something isn't right here. Let's go back a couple of turns. King to a5. Rook to f6. 8. b4 check. Takes on b4. Yeah, that would definitely have to be this piece. Knight takes on d4. Ah, here we go. d4. I was looking at b4 instead. A very bad error. And at this point, you can see that, like, yeah, there's a possibility of a check occurring over here, which of course I could follow up by escaping it. But then of course you've got the rook coming in behind, which is exactly what happens. So trying to outrun my opponent, I went a4, and unfortunately this is where I got the checkmate. There was a situation earlier. Strange. I thought it had gone to plus 14 and gone all the way. But it's only here where the bar was... Oh. Yeah, here where the bar was fully filled up. Plus I'm one. Yeah, check. And that's how my my first game ended, unfortunately. Well, I think I've spoken for long enough, and thank you for watching.